Good afternoon, back. We will now start our third and last panel for today before we will watch the movie. This panel is about Brazil in the international discussion of post-1945 art. And the idea is today galleries, museums, journals and institutions have increasingly focused on Brazilian artistic techniques, and new perspectives on Brazilian art were often generated via exhibitions that ultimately drew the international attention to the Brazilian art. So this panel seeks to present a deepened understanding of these occasions. Our first paper will focus on the growing international exposure of Brazilian art and the reorientation and enhancement of the academic research based on it. And the other two papers will reassess historical documents and look at local constellations from an international point of view that is informed by today. Our first speaker today is Irene Pfeffer, a Berlin-based art historian. She studied art history and cultural social anthropology in Berlin, Valencia and Madrid. And she's currently a PhD candidate at Freie Universität Berlin. Her thesis is focusing on text-image connections in works of Argentinian and Brazilian artists since the Concretismo, and this is, I think, what she will talk about today as well. The next speaker is Dr. Andreas Valentin. We have heard about him already. He's a professor of photography and arts at the State University of Rio de Janeiro and at Universidade Cândido Mendes, and currently a visiting fellow of the DFG research group Transcultural Negotiations in the Ambits of Art at Freie Universität Berlin. Andreas has published extensively as a researcher, but he's also a renowned Brazilian photographer who held several individual shows and participated in curated group exhibits of photography in Brazil. In 2004, he was awarded with the Pierre Verguet Photography Prize from the Brazilian Anthropology Association. And our third speaker is Sarah Poppel, who is also an independent art historian based in Berlin. She also studied art history and Spanish in Tübingen, in Mérida in Venezuela, and in Berlin. Her final thesis addressed the development of abstract art in Rio de Janeiro during the late 1940s. Since 2009, she participates in the organization of international art projects and exhibitions such as Raven Row in London, for example, or Double-Bound Economies, Reading an East German Photo Archive, which is in Leipzig, Geneva, Zurich, and Berlin. She also lectured about Latin American modern and contemporary art at the University of Bochum. And last but not least, we will have a response from Dr. Michael Asbury, who is a reader in the history and theory of art and a deputy director of the Research Center for Transnational Art Identity and Nation at the University of the Arts in London. He also is an internationally recognized specialist in modern and contemporary art in Brazil, and he has also published extensively, especially on Brazilian modern and contemporary artists, and has curated numerous exhibitions in the UK, Europe, and in Latin America. So now I will welcome our first speaker, Irene Pfeffer, please.